It is winter again, and this year it came early with low temperatures, snow and slippery roads. That gives drivers an extra challenge where there is need for more planning and driving times becomes longer. The car will not stop as it do on a dry summer surface. Snow and ice on the roads reduce the friction as all drivers in places on Earth where snow is falling has to remember to drive safely. But even before starting driving, there is things to consider, especially if the car has been parked outside and snow has been covering it. I have, as you perhaps know, a Tesla Model Y that I took delivery of in September of 2023. There is features that makes the life easier with this car than with my Tesla Model 3 that I had for more than 4 years. Of course, preheating is almost obligatory on a winter day like this, but it's not only that you can heat the cabin temperature to a nice temperature for your comfort. For some time now, there has also been the option to defrost the car. Then maximum heat is set inside the car, and it will be really warm when you arrive and want to drive the car. What I also noticed is that the Model Y is kind of noisy outside the car when the preheating has been enabled. But there is more features in my Tesla Model Y that I like in the winter climate like this, that I didn't have in my Model 3. So there is some more buttons here under the temperature icon that is not in my previous Model 3. First of all, the car has heated steering wheel, so you can add heated steering wheel here also. And here you have also heated windshield wiper, which means that the wipers gets warmed up in an icy condition, and that is very good when the temperature is extremely low. And now my steering wheel is warm and cozy, and that is something really that I enjoy. And since we had this warming of the wipers, I could also now without any issue wipe the car's windscreen. So off we go in the winter wonderland. One thing that has not changed in the European version of the full self-driving package is that you can't enable the autopilot on a snowy road. It needs the lines to be visible to allow you to enable the autopilot. So during the winter you may not have the benefit of using the autopilot functions on long-distance drives, depending on the surface that you are driving on, how clean it is from snow. But in the US, the full self-driving feature can apparently handling snowy roads. So there is hope that there will come an update even to European cars in the future. I have said it before, but the lack of ultrasonic sensor in this car is really not making the life easy. Since the so-called AI with cameras only is not doing its job. For example, when parking against a wall, the car says stop far too early. And I am not even close to the wall. And if I leave the car like this, the car wouldn't be fitting inside the parking square. Now I wouldn't go closer, and at this distance the car should start do the stop warning sign. I'm sorry, Tesla, but this is not doing its work. You can do better. Fix it with a software update so warnings will not come so early. Talking about updates, the Christmas over-the-air update has just arrived.
Here, there is several things that is really good and great here, and now you can enable the autopilot with only one touch on the stock like this. That's really great. Yes, we will activate that.
But there is this one update at the bottom, Autopilot suspension. Now the driver will be more monitored when driving in Autopilot. That is not doing anything else than to drive the car. If the driver is not doing exactly the things that it's supposed to, there is a risk that the autopilot function will be disabled for a full week. If one driver misbehaves, apparently all the drivers of the car will be punished.
I don't like the way that this full self-driving and auto steer is heading, where you got more and more punishments putting on yourself if you are not behaving exactly like Tesla likes me to do when I'm driving the car. I mean, I know that we should pay attention, we should keep the hands on the steering wheel, we should look on the street in front of us. But what is the whole idea with the full self-driving then, when we have to drive the car the same way like we are driving the car normally? I believed in few years ago that the full self-driving features and auto steers should head in this direction where we would be more and more relaxed, and we didn't need to pay so much attention to what is happening. This was the whole idea, that the cars would eventually drive themselves, right? And now we are guarded through the camera, that we are looking at the road and so on. Before it was just checking with the steering wheel that you were there.
One thing that it gives warnings, little bit more and so, but to introduce a suspension period that cannot be unlocked, it's really the wrong way to go. It opens up for the possibility that the suspension can lock down the car at the wrong time and hurt wrong people.
What happens if I'm going on a long distance trip and someone else is driving the car and making the car's auto steering being disabled for 1 week, and you want to drive for this during this week, you want to drive for a long distance drive?
The whole idea with the autopilot is to make driving safer. Then it is not helping that Tesla is disabling it.
My belief with that full self-driving feature and the autopilot is actually that the driving gets much more safer, because especially on a long distance drive, you're not sitting there focusing all the time to keep the car inside the lanes. The autopilot and the auto steer is doing this for you, so you can relax and then keep your eyes on other things in the traffic. And then when you come, for example, to a roundabout or a crossing, then you can deactivate the autopilot and then you drive the car normally. And then you're kind of doing two different things, and you have a variation that don't make you so tired by driving the car and makes the whole traffic situation, in my opinion, safer.
In my opinion, Tesla must remove this suspension as a punishment immediately. But if they should decide to keep this badly thought through restriction, there must be an option for me as an owner to unlock it. I paid for the car, I paid for full self-driving, so I have the right to be able to use it. It can't be like a mistake that someone is doing something and it's disabled for 1 week. Maybe Tesla could turn this into something positive instead, like they have done before when regulatory requirements has been forced on them. The unlock procedure could be that the driver must watch a short instruction movie of what is expected when using the auto steer and the full self-driving feature. With all the advanced tech that Tesla cars come with today, they are extremely powerful to be able to add many functions that benefits the driver and the overall safety. But the tech can also be abused by giving the impression to the public that the privacy and their rights are compromised. Since Tesla is monitoring all the cars, it's very easy to implement many more punishment features when different bad behaviors are discovered. What is the next step? Will the police move into the car? The only thing that protects the great benefits that all this tech can give us is the trust that manufacturers, politicians and the society is not abusing it. Adding a weak suspension for a feature like auto steer, it's one step in the wrong direction against losing the trust. Is it better that I return driving to an old car with no cameras and internet connection just so I don't feel that my privacy is compromised? The cure for the misbehavior is not to introduce a punishment. It is to build a system that is even better protecting the situation, and the Tesla full self-driving system is today so good that it should handle humans' deficiencies and bad behaviors.